Good morning, students. This is Mamta Khanna and welcome back to the video lecture of English grammar. And today I am going to teach you the second part of the chapter, the sentences. So, in the previous video, I have covered up the definition of sentence and one of its kind. Fine? So, in this video, I am going to teach you the remaining kinds of sentences. Okay, so before proceeding, first of all, I would like to recap you what I have taught in the previous video. Okay, so what have I taught you in the previous video was the definition. So, what is the definition of a sentence? The definition of a sentence is a group of words that makes a complete sense. So, what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that makes a complete sense. Example, the boys are playing football. The boys are playing football makes a complete sense. So, it is called a sentence. Okay, and I have taught you some points to remember. What are they? They are, a sentence always begins with a capital letter. Words should be placed in their proper order to make a complete sense. Number 3, a sentence ends with a full stop, question mark, or a sign of exclamation. Fine? These are the points to remember. Okay, after that I have taught you that how many kinds of sentences are there? There are 4 kinds of sentences. They are assertive or declarative sentences, interrogative sentences, imperative sentences, and exclamatory sentences. Right? Okay, so I have also taught you the first of its kind. That means assertive or declarative sentences. So what is assertive or declarative sentences? It is such sentences declare or state something. That means assertive or declarative sentences, they declare or state something. Example, the earth is round. Yash goes to school every day. So these sentences, these examples, it declares and it states something. Okay, it states and it declares that the earth is round and Yash goes to school every day. Fine? So, assertive sentences are of 2 kinds. Now see, assertive sentences are divided into how many kinds? 2 kinds. What are they? Number 1 is affirmative or yes statement, or we can say positive statement. And number 2, negative or no statement. That means we can say negative statements. Okay, so affirmative statements, affirmative sentences are those sentences which gives a positive statement. Like, the peon rings the school bell. Okay, the peon rings the school bell. So this statement, it shows affirmation. Right? It shows the positive response. So it is called a positive sentence. Fine? And number 2, negative or no statement. This kind of sentences, it shows negation. That means it denies to the fact. Example, she does not work hard. That means here does not shows that it do not agree with the sentence. Okay, what is the sentence? She does not work hard. So, does she work hard? No, she does not work hard. So, this sentence is a negative sentence. So, it was up to here that I have taught you in the previous video. Okay, so now let us see what we are going to read in this video, and it is number 2 is interrogative sentences. Fine. So, the second kind of sentences are interrogative sentence. Clear? Now see, what is the definition of it? A sentence that asks a question is called an interrogative sentence. An interrogative sentence, it ends with a question mark. And this is the sign of question mark. Clear? Now, interrogative sentence. What is an interrogative sentence? A sentence that asks a question. Okay, there are some sentences which ask a question, and that is called interrogative sentences. And remember, interrogative sentence always ends in a question mark. Okay, example, Whose house is it? Okay, whose house is it? And then question mark. That means this sentence is an interrogative sentence. Okay. Number 2. What is your name? And in the end it is a question mark. What is your name? Fine. Now see here, one thing to remember is that an interrogative sentence always has an answer after the statement. Okay, so what is the statement here? Whose house is it? So in answer, there will be some answer. Okay, that means this statement has an answer. Whose house is it? It can be mine, it can be your, it can be her, it can be his, it can be my friends or my grandmother's or my grandfather's or whatever. It means you will get an answer after this statement. Okay, similarly, number 2, what is your name? So if we say what is your name, definitely there is an answer after this statement. Like you can say Hari, Ravi, Akshay, Radha, whatever. Fine? That means interrogative sentences are those sentences which has an answer after a statement. Is it clear to all? Yes? Okay. So what is an interrogative sentence? An interrogative sentence is a sentence which asks a question, which ends in a question mark, and which has an answer after it. Clear? Fine, everybody? Okay. Now let us see what is question tag. Okay. So after interrogative sentences, it comes question tags. Fine? So now see what is a question tag. Question tag is formed by adding an interrogative tag to the original statement or sentence. It is usually added at the end of a sentence. Okay, so now what is question tag? A question tag is formed by adding an interrogative tag, okay, to the original statement. That means one original statement is already stated, and after that we add an interrogative tag. Fine? And it is usually added at the end of the sentence. And so when is question tag added? Question tag is added at the end of a sentence. Fine? At the end of a sentence. Okay? I will make it more clear with the help of some examples. Fine? So now let us see what are the points to remember. So point number 1. If the sentence is affirmative, affirmative means positive. If the sentence is affirmative, the question tag takes negative form. Okay, the question tag takes negative form. And if the sentence is negative, the question tag takes positive form. Okay, so here it states that if the sentence is affirmative, that means if the sentence is positive, then the question tags would be negative. And if the sentence is negative, then the question tag would be positive. Clear? Okay. Use comma after the main sentence. When we say the statement, okay, that is the main sentence, after that we use comma. Contracted form is used in negative question tags, and when there are negative question tags, then contracted form is used. Okay, so now let us see what is question tag with the help of some examples. Okay, now see example. Maradona is a soccer player, isn't he? Now see here, this is the statement. Okay, Maradona is a soccer player. And now the statement is positive, affirmative. Okay, so the question tag would be negative. That means isn't he? And then question mark, because these things, this question tag, it comes under the form of interrogative sentences. Clear? So this question tag is a part of interrogative sentences. Clear? So that we use question mark at the end of the complete statement. Fine? Now let's see number 2. Rohit doesn't speak English frequently. Now see, this statement is negative because here we are using the word doesn't. That means does not. Fine? So Rohit doesn't speak English fluently. So when the statement is negative, what would be the question tag? It will be positive. That means does he. Here there is not a negative question tag. See, here is a negative question tag. Isn't. Isn't means is not. Isn't he? Okay. Why? Because the statement is positive. Okay. The statement is affirmative. But here, since the statement is negative, the question tag would be affirmative. Fine? Rohit doesn't speak English frequently. Does he? Question mark. Fine? Next. The curry is very delicious. So now you can see that the statement is affirmative. So what would be the question tag? Negative. So it will become isn't it? Fine? Similarly, Simran is going to address the meeting. So this statement is positive, affirmative. Yes, the statement is affirmative. So that the question tag is negative. Simran is going to address the meeting. Isn't she? Question mark. So students, I hope it is clear to you what is question tag. How is question tag used? Yes? Okay. So now let us see the next kind of sentences. Okay. So what is the next kind of sentence? It is an imperative sentences. Okay. Number third is imperative sentences. So let us see what is an imperative sentence. A sentence that expresses an order, a request, or an advice is called an imperative sentence. Okay, so what is an imperative sentence? An imperative sentence is a sentence that expresses an order. Okay? Express means to tell, to show. Fine? That shows an order, a request, or an advice. Okay, now what is order? Order is hukum dena. Fine? Let me adjust 1 minute. Let me adjust. Yes. So, order is an, what is the meaning of order? Hukum dena. Now, request. Request means, what is the meaning of request? Means, किसी से request करना. जैसे हम बोलते हैं, please, हमारे लिए ये काम कर दो. Okay, that is called request. Or an advice. Advice means सलाह देना. Okay, to give an advice to somebody. किसी को सलाह देना. That is called advice. Fine? So, all this thing comes under an imperative sentence. So, let's read once again, what is an imperative sentence? A sentence that expresses an order, a request, or an advice is called an imperative sentence. Okay? So, now let us read this with the help of examples. Number 1. Don't make a noise. Now see, don't make a noise. Like suppose when your teacher says to all the children, to all the students, don't make any noise. So what is the teacher doing? Is the teacher requesting something? क्या teacher request कर रही है कि please बच्चे हल्ला मत करो, शोर मत मचाओ? या फिर ये कुछ सलाह दे रही है कि हल्ला नहीं करना? हल्ला नहीं करना जब हम बोलते हैं वो क्या होता है? वो एक ऑर्डर है. हम हुक्म देते हैं कि हल्ला नहीं करना. Fine? So, don't make a noise. It comes under an order. Order or command. Fine? Now, number 2. Please lend me your book. Now, when we say please, that means what are we doing? We request it. हम request करते हैं कि please मुझे अपनी book दे दो. Fine? So, this sentence, it comes under request. And number 3. Never waste your time. जब हम बोलते हैं अपने वक्त बर्बाद मत करो, तो ये क्या हुआ है? ये एक एडवाइस है, एक सलाह देते हैं हम. ठीक है? So, the sentence which shows an order, a request, or an advice is called an imperative sentence. Fine, everybody? Is it clear? Now see, this sentence, don't make a noise, it is an order. please lend me your book. It is a request. And never waste your time. It is an advice. Fine? So, an imperative sentence is a sentence that expresses an order, a request, or an advice is called an imperative sentence. Clear, everybody? Okay, so now let us go to the fourth and the last kind, that is exclamatory sentences. Fine? Okay, let me just... Yes, here it is. Exclamatory sentences. Now let us see what is an exclamatory sentence. Yes. A sentence that expresses some strong or sudden feelings is called an exclamatory sentence. Okay, so what is an exclamatory sentence? An exclamatory sentence is a sentence which expresses some strong or sudden feeling. ठीक है, जो हम फट से कोई स्ट्रॉन्ग या सडन अचानक से हम कुछ अपने मन की बात बताते हैं या फीलिंग्स हम दिखाते हैं, उसे कहते हैं एक्सक्लेमेटरी सेंटेंसेस. ओके, लाइक जॉय, जब हम खुश हो जाते हैं, जब हमें गुस्सा आता है, जब हम किसी से नफरत करते हैं या किसी चीज़ से नफरत करते हैं, ये सब किस कैटेगरी के अंदर आता है? इट कम्स अंडर एक्सक्लेमेटरी सेंटेंसेस. फाइन एवरीबॉडी? Okay, so now this exclamatory sentence has something to be noted. And what it is? Note, we put an exclamation mark. Okay, this is an exclamation mark. Okay, that means it is a line and then a dot. Fine? We put an exclamation mark at the end of an exclamatory sentence. Okay, so when there is an exclamatory sentence, it must end with a exclamation mark. Fine? That means an exclamatory sentence always ends in an exclamation mark. Now let us see the examples of it. Example number 1. What a beautiful voice Lata Mangeshkar has. Okay, that means we love the voice of Lata Mangeshkar. She has a very, very sweet voice. Okay, so when we express it in a sentence, how will we say? We will say, what a beautiful voice Lata Mangeshkar has, and then exclamation mark. Okay, जैसे कि हम बोलते हैं हिंदी में, वाह लता मंगेशकर की आवाज़ कितनी प्यारी है. Okay, so when we say exclamatory sentence, we give a kind of pressure to that complete sentence. उस sentence को हम किसी तरीके से pressure देके, दबाव देके हम बोलते हैं. Fine? That is the main thing to be noted about exclamation mark. And now, number 2, how rude you are. When we will say how rude you are means तुम कितने बुरे हो, तुम कितने बहस करते हो. Okay, तुम मतलब तुम्हारी आदत अच्छी नहीं है. फाइन, तब हम कैसे बोलते हैं? हम प्यार से तो बोलेंगे नहीं, तुम्हारी आदत अच्छी नहीं है, ऐसे तो हम नहीं बोलेंगे. हम कैसे बोलेंगे? हाउ विल वी से? वी विल से हाउ रूड यू आर. ओके, सो नाउ सी, इफ आई से हाउ रूड यू आर, कैन यू हियर समथिंग डिफरेंस इन द वे आई स्पीक? हाउ रूड यू आर. You can hear the sentence, the formation of sentence. It is something giving a great pressure to this sentence. Okay, and that sentence is called an exclamation sentence, exclamatory sentence. Okay, and exclamatory sentence always ends in a, what is this? Exclamation mark. Fine? Okay, and now one thing what I would like to tell you is that an exclamation mark not always ends in the end of the sentence. Sometimes it comes just after some word. Like suppose, let me just write you and show you. Number 3. Hooray. Hooray. That means this hooray, it is an exclamation word. So here, just after this, we put an exclamation mark. Fine? Hooray! We have won we have won the match. Fine? Hooray! Exclamation mark. We have won the match. Full stop. Fine? So we must see when we have to use this exclamation mark. Now see, let me show you in example number 4. Example number 4, I would tell you. Okay. Oh! Exclamation mark. Because this word is an exclamation word. Okay, this word expresses an exclamation in a sentence. Oh, what a beautiful rose. Oh, what a beautiful rose. Fine. So at the end we put a full stop. Is it clear? Oh, what a beautiful rose. We don't say, oh, what a beautiful rose. We don't say like that. How do we say? Oh, what a beautiful rose. Number 3, hooray, we have won the match. We don't say, hooray, we have won the match. We don't say in that way. How do we say? We say, hooray, we have won the match. Okay? Whereas in number 2, we will say, how rude you are. We will not say, how rude you are. No. How do we say? How rude you are. Then at the end, exclamation mark. Whereas in number 1, what a beautiful voice Lata Mangeshkar has. Then here, exclamation mark. Fine? I hope that it is clear to you about exclamatory sentences. Okay. So I think you are clear with the sentence, that means the definition of sentence and its kinds. How many kinds of sentences are there? There are 4 kinds of sentences. What are they? They are assertive sentences, and in assertive sentences there are 2 forms, that is affirmative and negative statements. Okay? Now next, number 2. Number 2 is an interrogative sentences, and in और interrogative sentences में हमें क्या मिलता है? Question tags. Okay? And in interrogative sentences we get question tags. Okay? And what is third kind of sentences? It is an imperative sentence. And number 4 is exclamatory sentence. So I hope it is clear to you. Thank you for watching.